Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, we're going to circle back to Illinois' assault weapon ban now in the case of Barnett v. Raoul, because there is a real Donnybrook brewing out there. We have already talked about the fact that the United States Department of Justice had weighed in with an amicus brief in support of the petitioners. And you're not going to believe this, but what if I told you there was a whole bunch of prosecuting attorneys, district attorneys, what they call in Illinois state attorneys? Yeah, they just decided to weigh in also, and they're weighing in on behalf of the petitioner as well. We'll break it down for you because this really goes to show how emboldened lawful and responsible gunners are becoming nationwide and why we are slowly but surely winning this battle. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about when even the prosecutors call BS on your state's gun laws. Okay, hey, listen, before we get going too far down the road, we're going down. Proud to announce that with the good help of our friends with Right to Bear, that's right, Washington Gun Law, will be doing yet another Illinois road trip next month, July 14th through the 18th. Now, we may be adding a couple of extra dates down in the south part of the state, but right now, these are the dates we have, and all of the registration for each of those events are down there in the description box. Illinois, we will love to see you next month, so stop on by, see us at any one of these locations. If we add more dates, we will let you know. Again, brought to us by our good friends at Right to Bear. Okay, so America, what we're talking about is the case of Barnett v. Raoul. We have talked about this case dozens of times. This is the lead case in a bunch of cases that are consolidated that are challenging the constitutionality of what is otherwise an incredibly unconstitutional assault weapon ban out of the state of Illinois, referred to as the Protect Illinois Communities Act. We already talked about how the Department of Justice, for the first time in the history of the United States, decided to weigh in on behalf of lawful and responsible gun owners across the state of Illinois. And now we have a huge slew of state attorneys. You may call them district attorneys. Out here in Washington State, we call them prosecuting attorneys. These are the elected prosecuting attorneys for these counties. They have filed an amicus brief in support of lawful and responsible gun owners statewide. Now, the charge is clearly led by Thomas A. Hain of Madison County out of Edwardsville, Illinois. But I want you to understand, Illinois, this is the list right here of all of the other prosecuting attorneys, state's attorneys that have weighed in on behalf of what is supposed to be your inalienable rights. Now, I'm only going to share with you the very beginning portion of the memorandum. I will tell you that when you get into the nuts and bolts of it, the law, then what the state's attorneys here have done is a fantastic job of simple Second Amendment protections 101. They talk about in common use for any lawful purpose. They talk about the dangerous and unusual standards. They talk about the obvious facts that neither of these are unusual whatsoever, and that the ban on its face with just the simple equation as announced in Heller is in fact unconstitutional. But they bring up a point that they can only bring up, which is that, hey, listen, they don't even want to have to prosecute people under these laws because they believe these laws are unconstitutional. And I want you to understand the plight here of these states' attorneys, those that actually respect your constitutional rights. Because as they put it, states' attorneys, like those joining as amici, are enjoined by their sworn duty to protect and defend the rights of citizens residing in their respective counties. They each swear the following oath. And this is the oath that an Illinois state attorney has to take. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Illinois, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of state's attorneys according to the best of my ability. So as they correctly point out, therefore, each of the 35 state's attorneys amici has an inherent interest in the constitutionality of criminal statutes like the Illinois Public Act 102-116, better known as the so-called assault weapon ban, hereinafter the Act. After all, the Act creates various criminal penalties and enforcement rules for which the duty rests on the offices of amici to pursue and enforce in their respective counties. That's right. You literally would put a prosecutor in the Hobson's choice of where they now have to pursue criminal prosecution under a statute that they actually believe on its face is unconstitutional. And yeah, if you have a conscience, and yeah, if you have an understanding of constitutional principles, that would be a real conundrum for these states' attorneys, as they also go on to state. However, on its face, the act violates the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution, which protects an individual's right to bear arms and is therefore unconstitutional. The act places amici in a difficult ethical and legal quandary. Illinois Rule of Professional Conduct 3.8 provides that the duty of the public prosecutor is to seek justice, not merely to convict. That's right. And I spent time as a King County prosecuting attorney, and that was something that my boss, Mr. Mailing, God rest his soul, was very, very adamant about, that we are there to seek justice, not necessarily convictions. As the Illinois state's attorneys point out, Committee Comment 1 states, a prosecutor has the responsibility of a minister of justice and not simply that of an advocate. This responsibility carries with it specific obligations to see that the defendant is accorded procedural justice. And then, to really wrap it up, the state's attorneys argue, to avoid this dilemma, and in the interest of clarity for all, amici encourage this honorable court to affirm the district court's well-reasoned conclusion and strike down the act as an unconstitutional infringement of the Second Amendment rights of the residents of Illinois. Amici have a substantial interest in this litigation, and the constitutionality of laws amici will be responsible for enforcing. Bravo to each and every one of the state's attorneys who are willing to sign on to this. This is a bold move, but it is the right move. But what I want everyone, not only in Illinois, but around the country to realize is that in just the last few weeks, we have seen some new allies joining forces with us in the Second Amendment sphere. We have seen the United States Department of Justice now on multiple occasions work feverishly to advance the interest of gun owners nationwide. We are beginning to see that work in Congress as well with the Reconciliation Act. And then today we actually end up with a bunch of prosecuting attorneys throughout the state of Illinois who simply say, hey, listen, our duty is to uphold the Constitution, and we don't believe we should be prosecuting people under an unconstitutional law. This demonstrates, no matter how bad things get in states like Illinois or out here in my home state of Washington, that slowly but surely we are in fact winning this war, and we will prevail. Okay, the case once again is Barnett v. Raoul. We're going to link up the amicus brief down below because it is totally awesome and you can geek out on it for yourself. Listen, if you got any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now, but if you don't, that's okay. That information down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing around here, you click on that link right there and you tell us all about it. If you want to subscribe to the monthly newsletter, the ability to do that is down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, let's everyone remember that part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.